Hi, I'm Claire Tompkins, the Clutter Coach, and this is the Organize Your Life podcast. I am passionate about organizing because it makes my clients' lives so much easier, more relaxed, and with more time to spend the way they want to. In every podcast in the show, I'll lay out a simple organizing concept, and I'll tell you why it's important. I'll also include an action step at the end so you can start practicing right away. My specialty is chunking down this big topic so it's not overwhelming. That's the concept for this podcast, which is based on my first book, 52 Simple Ways to Get Organized. The book is available on my website and on Amazon. I work with clients in person in the Berkeley, California area and via email and Skype, so you don't have to be local to me. Visit the Hire tab on my website or email me at claire@cluttercoach.net. If you like the show, please rate it and review it. To do that, go to my website, cluttercoach.net, and scroll down for the show notes. Each show notes post has a link to leave a review in iTunes. I would so appreciate that. Okay, on to the podcast. Today, I present you with podcast number 61, and it's about general organizing principles. This was also a listener request. To get back to basics. So, I'm going to talk to you about some fundamental concepts and ideas about organizing. It probably won't be anything you haven't heard before, but some of the ideas might make you say, oh yeah, I forgot about that. Or you might not be familiar with them, but they will make sense to you. The two I'm going to talk about today are keep things you use often close by and things you use seldom farther away, and keep like things together. So, I'll talk first about keeping like things together. When I'm decluttering with a client, this is usually our first hands-on task. It is so much easier to sort through items when you're looking at all the items of a category, and the categories are as large or small as you need them to be. In your closet, for example, big categories are bottoms and tops. You can subdivide the first one into pants and skirts, and then further subdivide those into hem length. The amount of dividing you do depends on how helpful it is to have skirt length split up, for example. If you've got only 5 or 6 skirts, you don't need to do this. But if dividing them up helps you find the one you want more quickly, which is the crux of organizing in general, then you should do that. Categorizing your clothing makes it easy to see that, for example, maybe you have 7 white blouses. You may not have realized that if they were just sprinkled throughout your closet. When you gather them together, you can compare them and make effective choices about which ones and how many to keep. In the kitchen, take a cue from the silverware drawer. Most people keep forks together, knives together, and spoons together. Other categories are utensils, plates, and spices. The reason for doing this clearly is when you want a fork, you want to look for a fork in the place where the forks are. You don't want to look for a fork in the place where the forks and the knives and the spoons and the big spoons and the other kind of knives and the smaller forks are. The kitchen is kind of time-consuming to organize because there are so many small little things, but the categories are often easier to define. Next principle, keep things you use often close by and things you seldom use farther away. You already do this to some extent, kind of naturally. In the bathroom, your toothbrush is close at hand, and nail polish maybe is further away, because that reflects how often you use each thing. Anytime you find yourself regularly spending time rooting around to find something that you use every day, this is a sign that you should move it to a more convenient spot. Now, this often means you have to move something else to make way for it. And this is your chance to review what's close at hand in the bathroom, bedroom, kitchen, anywhere, and make sure it should be there. Another excellent reason for keeping often used items close by is that it makes them easier to put away. Do not underestimate this benefit. So much of everyday clutter results from people not wanting to take the time to put things away. And if it's hard and time-consuming to do that, well, it makes a lot of sense that they want to put that off. When you open the top right drawer in the bathroom, if you're right-handed, the left one if you're left-handed, do you see things you use every single day? Save this space and the counter space for that type of thing. In an ideal world, you'd be able to have everything you own close at hand. Of course you would. But due to the limitations of physical space, this cannot be. Some things have to be put further away, on a higher shelf or at the back of a lower drawer. Word to the wise, those far-off spots are very good places to start looking for things that you can get rid of. They're probably harboring things that you haven't seen in years and have completely forgotten about. Things you stopped using but weren't quite ready to get rid of. Look at those things long and hard and decide whether they still rate a spot in your home. Items like holiday decor and archive files, those are obvious candidates for being stored farther away. Sure, you might have to get on a ladder to get at them, but you only do that once a year, if ever. Then there's the large in-between category of things you don't use daily, but they aren't special occasion either. They also get spots to live based on how much you use them. And you'll also add in criteria like size and weight. Something that won't fit in a drawer will fit on a closet shelf. Something that's really heavy and unwieldy to get off a high shelf might go on the closet floor. You'll find that there's an inherent logic in choosing where to put things, as long as you're paying attention and not just opening a cabinet at random and stuffing something in there. Take some time to think about what the most logical and reasonable place to keep something is. Your action step is to go through a drawer that you use every day and make sure everything in there deserves to be in such a handy spot. Hey, thanks for listening. I'm Claire Tompkins, the Clutter Coach. If you like the show, I'd love it if you leave a rating and review in iTunes. You can subscribe, too, so the podcast will be ready and waiting for you to listen to. You'll find the show notes on my blog at www.cluttercoach.net, and you can check out my store to find books I've written and a whole bunch of other stuff. If you're a fan of the show, you can become a patron on patreon.com for as little as $1 a month. You can find my page by going to the Patreon website, that's Patreon, and searching on Clutter Coach. I'll still post the podcast free of charge, but I've got some cool rewards for folks who want to help me make the show even better. Come back next week for a new podcast.